Yesterday, news emerged in this country that President Uhuru Kenyatta is going to take a 1-month break from official functions. And I'll be interested in following that matter, whether his deputy, who is the principal assistant, will take charge of the country. Because according to that circular, which was shared by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, I'm just trying to look for it, in a circular to head of diplomatic missions in Nairobi, the Foreign Affairs Ministry said the head of state will be out of office from 15th December to 15th January. And it went further to say the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Kenya avails itself of this opportunity to renew to all heads of diplomatic missions, the United Nations agencies and international organizations in Nairobi, the assurance of the highest consideration. And it says here that the ministry directs any request towards the president should be made through the principal secretary or his designated representative. And later on, I realized online that most pages like the Daily Nation, the Citizen, which had shared the news, actually pulled them down. I don't understand why, but I'll be following that. But for now, I want us to look at this particular meeting, the secret meeting which took place between the allies of President Uhuru Kenyatta and William Samoei Ruto. Because according to the Senate Majority Whip, Irungu Kangata, he held meetings with the representative of the Deputy President William Samoei Ruto on Sunday. And news is also emerging that some allies of the Deputy President William Ruto refused to attend that meeting. What is not clear is who engineered that particular meeting. And just like I keep on saying on this platform, that in politics, nothing happens out of mere coincidence. There is an article which I was reading. There's a African intelligence newsletter. I like reading it. And they were saying something here on the 7th of December. They have an article headlined Makeups and Breakups, Uhuru Dumps Ruto. Again, let me just read for you some part here. It says, Deputy President William Ruto and his boss Uhuru Kenyatta held talks last month to find a compromise on the constitutional referendum backed by the president. Since then, Ruto has become a persona non grata at State House, Nairobi. So I want us to go into that particular meeting and try to understand the objective, why the allies of President Uhuru Kenyatta and those of William Samoei Ruto met. Is it possible that these guys are trying to betray Raila Amolo Odinga? Or is the deputy president trying to find a way to join the Building Bridges Initiative process? Let us go into the Building Bridges Initiative process and the stand which the deputy president has always taken since it was started. Initially, the deputy president claimed that the BBI was not a priority to Kenya. Then he went further and claimed that the BBI was going to cost Kenyans billion and that those money could actually be used to help the hustler nation, like people who are pushing the wheelbarrows, the mkokotenis, and the rest. That it was going to be expensive. Then he went further and said the BBI was meant to benefit the dynasties. Then from there, he also claimed that the BBI was actually going to undermine democracy by accommodating the losers. Because in this country, there's this winner takes it all. And that's what democracy is all about. So those are some of the conditions which the deputy president moved around the country telling his supporters. Then the BBI 1, I think 2 happened. And after BBI 2 happened, he changed now. He dropped some of those demands and started claiming that, number 1, the BBI should actually be postponed to 2022. So that we don't have a BBI referendum in June or April, but have it together with the general election. Then he came up with another demand that instead of going for a yes or no, let's have a multi-choice referendum. So that in a multi-choice referendum, if you agree that you want the executive to be expanded, but you don't agree to some other issues, then you vote for that. If you don't agree to it, then you say no to it. So we have 6 issues, then you vote for those particular issues. Then he also raised issues with the ombudsman and additional constituencies, how they were going to be created and shared. Then again, after that, the BBI report 3 came, where some of those demands were actually taken care of. Then of late, the deputy president is now sticking with only 2 issues. The first issue is the issue of multi-choice referendum, and then the gender aspect in parliament, because the deputy president believes that women should be elected, not nominated. So we have we retain the women rep positions, because in the proposed BBI referendum, it's supposed to be done away with. Then we are going to introduce senators. So we are going to, each county is going to produce 2 senators, a woman and a man. So the deputy president, in his own wisdom, believes that we should have women rep positions retained, and again we have the 2 senators. So those are the only 2 issues he currently still holding to. But is it possible that the deputy president is actually trying to soften his stand? And what could be the objective of the meeting with President Uhuru Kenyatta's ally? Because if there were honesty in that particular meeting, in my view, the story of Uhuru Kenyatta going for leave and a designated representative taking over some of those roles, in my view, would not have been there, because the constitution is clear that if the president is out of office, then the person who should act is his deputy, because it is the principal assistant. And the president had actually created a precedence before, when he went to The Hague and left the deputy president to take charge of the country. And again, if it's true, because African Intelligence is actually an intelligence newsletter, if it's true, it's saying after the last time the deputy president went to State House, he's now a persona non grata, then it means probably this meeting is meant to force the deputy president to support the Building Bridges initiative. But I want to believe that their objectives, and in my view, these are some of the objectives. Number 1, probably William Samoei Ruto and his team, not entirely, because in his team, there's the camp which believes he should not support BBI. And there's the camp which believes that he should actually support the Building Bridges initiative process. And William Ruto, as an individual, cannot afford to oppose this process. So in my view, William Ruto is probably trying to negotiate how some of his people could actually be accommodated in the process, so that he's going to push for formation of a new team. For example, we already have the BBI secretariat. That secretariat, who are there? There's Junet Mohammed, there's Dennis Waweru. None of those people are allied to the deputy president, William Ruto. So in my view, he's trying to look at a way on how he can be accommodated. So probably he's going to drop some of these conditions in exchange for his inclusion in the process. So that's number 1. Number 2, maybe these guys also met because the deputy president did not, and his allies never participated in the collection of signatures. And already 5 million signatures have been collected. If you followed their speeches during the Harambe at Bishop Wanjiru's church, they were actually trashing those signatures, that the 5 million signatures were fake. So probably they want to prove that they can collect their own signatures, because this BBI process is laid down in law. If the signatures were collected, those signatures were collected specifically for that bill. So if that bill is going to be changed, it means that new signatures are going to be collected. So in their own wisdom, they want the bill to be changed a bit. So after the bill is changed, then it means it's going to provide them with an opportunity now to collect signatures. And then they'll do what is expected. We'll be seeing their supporters turning up in large numbers to collect their signatures. Because Raila Odinga was quoted as saying very recently that the process cannot be rewinded again because already they've collected the signatures. And these guys were willing to go and collect those signatures. So probably they'll be trying to prove that they can collect more signatures than the ones which have already been collected. Number three, probably, these guys are keen on reducing the influence of Raila Amolo Odinga in the Building Bridges Initiative process. The BBI is a product of the handshake. Raila Odinga recently received the Building Bridges Initiative signatures. So basically, he's the face, the political face of the process. President Uhuru Kenyatta is the leader of the BBI process, but Raila Odinga is now taking the political face. And for Ruto and his team to join, it means Raila Odinga will be the political face of that process. So they don't want this. So they wanted to negotiate on how they can join so that Raila Odinga's influence can be reduced. And lastly, I don't want to assume the possibility that the allies of William Samoei Ruto and those of Uhuru Kenyatta are actually trying to mend fences. And that would mean Raila Odinga being locked out of the entire BBI process. Of course, the BBI up to now cannot move forward without the input of Raila Amolo Odinga. But there's a possibility that these guys can team up to try and undermine Raila Amolo Odinga's presidential bid in 2022. Because remember, already, and I did a video about that yesterday, already Francis Atwoli met with Musalia Mudavadi and is trying to craft Musalia Mudavadi and Gideon Moi's alliance. So, and already, again, if you look at Kalonzo Musyoka, is already outside there. So, which means, as things are today, it's very possible to actually isolate Raila Amolo Odinga as far as 2022 politics is concerned. I don't know what you think. Let me hear your thoughts. But in my view, that secret meeting had a political objectives. And the objectives were four. Number one, on how William Ruto's allies can be accommodated in the process. Number two is to allow them to collect signatures, because the Building Bridges Initiative process is going to move forward without a single signature from them, so they cannot claim to own it. Number three, probably to reduce Raila Odinga factor in the Building Bridges Initiative. And number four, probably they're scheming on how to betray Raila Amolo Odinga or start working again as Jubilee. I don't know what you think. Let me hear your thoughts on this matter. Thank you guys, and please may you have a good day.